Hi there, it's Rebecca Scritchfield for dietsandreview.com. And if you love chocolate as much as I do, I've got some good news. You know, we're getting close to Valentine's Day here, and who cannot resist the calling of all these heart-shaped chocolate boxes and all the thoughts of candy coming our way. But if you are trying to watch your weight, that tends to be something that, you know, might kind of cause you a little bit of hesitation because maybe you're trying to avoid candy and extra sugar and stuff. And, you know, that's not a bad approach. But the problem is if you totally cut it out, you just end up wanting it more. And there's actually science that proves that. When they study deprivation type diets where they completely restrict foods for people, they actually think about the foods that much more. So why don't you cut yourself a break and find some healthy ways of including that in. So if you're a fan of candy bars, and say there's a perfect type of candy bar that you just love, right? Go for the fun size ones, or they have those mini snack bite ones. They're roughly around 100 calories or so, or a couple small pieces of chocolate. It's going to be around 100 calories. Take it and sit back and enjoy. All right, make it last as long as possible. Don't eat it in a rush. Don't eat it mindlessly. You want to really get all the benefits out of it. And that's something that, it's better to give yourself the pleasure of what you're really wanting than just to say, no, if I'm going to succeed, I am not going to have any chocolate ever. Because, well, eventually you're just going to give up. It's not going to be realistic, and you're going to end up eating way more than what your body needs or wants or what you feel comfortable with. If you like to have a little bit of sweets every day, I've got my top 2 picks for the wintertime chocolate buzz. So my first is a little container of these mini chocolate morsels. And these are the mini size, but you could certainly just get the regular size, and it's basically chocolate chips. Now, semi-sweet morsels do have a lower percent of saturated fat, and they have more antioxidants than milk chocolate. So what you're going for is about a small palmful, and again, if you get the mini kind, you really do get a lot of mini chocolate chips in there. And if you want to kind of extend the amount, then what you can do is make your own trail mix. So add a handful of nuts, a handful of mini chocolate chips, and a handful of dried fruit. That's something that you could snack on a couple times a day. If you just want that sort of straight shot of chocolate, go for a dark chocolate or something like semi-sweet morsels, and you're just going to have, again, a small handful or maybe a couple fingers full if you have a chocolate bar. Now, if you're sort of relaxing at night, or maybe it's a cold afternoon, consider making hot cocoa, but old school style. Okay, so one of the problems with hot chocolate that's on the market today is the first ingredient is sugar. It's a lot of added sugar, and you don't really have control of the quality of the cocoa. This happens to be 100% cocoa powder, and one serving, which is 3 tablespoons full, has 9 grams of fiber and 7 grams of protein. Now, this also has lots of powerful antioxidants. In fact, the pure cocoa can have more antioxidants than red wine. And you often hear about, if you drink red wine, that you can go ahead and have a glass a day because it has antioxidant properties and can be anti-inflammatory and actually be good for you. So if you're already a drinker, switch to red wine. If you're not a drinker and you love your chocolate, consider hot chocolate made with cocoa powder. Now, I would also make that on the stove with fat-free milk, because there you're going to get natural sugars, you're going to get some calcium, and you're going to get some protein. And when you mix the two together, it might not be sweet enough for you, because a pure cocoa powder, there's no sugar, and it's a little bitter. So at that point, you can pick the way that you're going to sweeten it. Some ideas include, if you have a flavored creamer at home, maybe a French vanilla, you could add a little bit of that in. Maybe a teaspoon of your favorite way of adding sugar. So some people like honey. Now that's going to add a flavoring there. Other people just will use just the sort of processed refined white sugar, or other people will use that raw sugar, that brown raw sugar. At any rate, from my standpoint, it's all sugar. It's all added. It's going to add to the calories. But what you do is you're going to control the amount. So I would just add a little bit of sugar, maybe a teaspoon, and that's probably going to be enough for you. It's still going to be better than what you would buy off the shelf and out of an individual package. So to recap, it's okay if you have a sweet tooth. What you want to do is practice mindfulness when you're eating it, and also moderation. If it's going to be a daily thing, rather than have it be something that you feel that you could eat without even noticing and finishing a whole bag, like maybe those mini candy bars, try to go for something that you can portion control, like a handful of semi-sweet morsels or some dark chocolate, or try making that hot chocolate with cocoa powder, a little bit of sugar, or some sweetener from your creamers that you put in your coffee. Well, that's about it for me. For dietsandreview.com, I'm Rebecca Scritchfield.